Through all of my years of teaching, I have found that if a golfer can simply get their pivot action right, their hips, their butt, their knees, their feet, can really go a long way towards them building a really solid golf swing. Right after this, I want to show you some very powerful and yet simple tools that are going to help you pivot or shift your weight like the pros you see on TV. So stay tuned. Hey, this is Steve from HitItLonger.com. I continue on my journey to hit the ball longer and straighter from tee to green, and I hope I can show you how to do the same. If you get any benefit out of this video, I hope you'll hit like and subscribe. So these days, what a lot of top players and coaches are talking about is ground forces. Now, don't click off of the video just because I said ground forces and it sounds like it's going to be too mechanical for you. I want to break this down in some really simple ideas that are going to allow you to move a lot more like, let's say, a Rory McIlroy or a Justin Thomas. Now, how do ground forces work exactly? They're reactionary. That's why they're called ground reaction forces. What happens is we get a signal from our brain, travels down to our muscles. Our intent is to swing the golf club. The signal travels down to your muscles. Your muscles start to contract, and that sends energy down into the ground. And then the ground responds by causing us to move. You would not be able to move very efficiently unless you had the ground to work from. For example, if you took away your base of support and you weren't attached to the ground at all and you tried to swing, your rotation would be the opposite way and it would completely negate any forces you were trying to swing with. In fact, the harder you tried to swing, the more you'd spin the other way and your power would be equally low. Follow me so far? Then let's keep going. Ground forces can be broken up into three axes. You would have up and down or vertical. Let's say if I was to jump and straighten up out of that, I would have pushed a lot of forces vertically down into the ground. And then you've got, let's call this an x-axis. So if I were to, let's say, slide the morning paper under the door, or kick a soccer ball, but drag my foot along the way, I'd be producing forces running in this fashion. Then you've got forces running in this fashion. If I were to do that and sideways slide my foot that way, I'd be creating ground forces moving in that direction. Now, those are the basic three axes that you could produce force on. Getting the pivot to look like the pros is simply going to be getting the right combinations of those forces in your swing. And once you know the movements or the intention to move or the muscles involved that help make these moves, it's going to be very easy for you to duplicate the pivot of the pros on TV. All right, I brought my chair out just so you have a little bit of a grid to watch me move against. We know, because we have now measured many pros and how their pelvises move during their downswings. We know that on average they move about 6 inches laterally towards the target from the top of the swing down into impact. So let me leave about 6 inches of chair exposed here, so you'll know I'm doing it right when I can cover up this end of the chair. Now, if I was going to make myself move laterally this way, and for today, we're just going to talk about the forces acting through the left foot into the ground, just to keep it twice as simple, half as difficult. One action that's going to help move me over laterally is going to be this action right here. You can do this right now. You can watch me and just kick your leg across the body like that, almost like if you were going to kick a soccer ball into the goal over there, kind of sideways with your front foot. Most of you, it'll be your left foot. Now, once that foot gets attached to the ground, it can no longer move because it's pushing down into the ground a little bit. But what it's going to do is make the rest of your body respond. So as you move that clawing action to try to kick the soccer ball sideways, but your foot is now attached, it's going to serve to help move you over like this. So it's going to be these muscles on the inside of the thigh contracting this way, trying to slough the ground this way, but instead it acts to pull you down into the left post, that 6-inch move we're looking for, in order to produce a lot of power and get the body rotating properly. Now, another thing that the pros do differently than a lot of people watching will stand up as they come into impact this way. Now that generates a whole different profile of ground forces than somebody like a Rory McIlroy might produce. In fact, it's nearly the opposite. So in order for you to push your body this way off the wall and get standing up into what we'd call an early extension position, which is many people that I teach, you would need out of your left foot, you would need a kick of the soccer ball backwards, almost like you're trying to wipe some mud off your shoe. If you're coming in on the front doormat, you're trying to wipe the mud off the shoe that way. Now that action, when the foot is now attached to the ground, instead of the foot and leg moving, it's going to pull your pelvis forward like this. So it is that ground force and that action that's causing the problem. And if you're going to fix the early extension, you would simply need to kick forward this way. So I'm sloughing the ground. I'm almost trying to move the earth, trying to kick the earth that way. Now when my foot gets attached to the ground and it can't slide anymore, what that's going to do is I try to kick that way, it's going to move me back. Try to move this way and it pushes my butt backwards. Now the average guy on TV moves his butt or his pelvis backwards about 1 inch or so. So we're going laterally about 6, we're going backwards about 1. So we need both clawing this way, and then we also need clawing this way at the same time. And when you can combine those two ideas, you get a pivot that looks like that. Now what you're looking to do here is allow the chest to rotate around with the hips. You'll find that when your hips start moving like this, you're going to start to be able to rotate a lot more. It's going to give you more club head speed, get your hand path a little bit more on the correct arc. You're going to just hit the ball longer and straighter once you get this pivot going. It's also going to help you make nice compressed impact with divots in front of the ball. So everything that you're looking for can be sussed out of that and that. Now, we talked about vertical, just to touch on that. The vertical is going to come when you unweight the front foot going back this way. This is becoming a new fad on TV, by the way. It was out of fashion for many years, but now it's coming back. That's to lift the heel, unweight the foot, and as you claw your way over, you're going to step down. With this leg, you'll also be, we didn't cover the right leg, another video, but you'll be pushing that way as well. And you'll be stepping down and creating a lot of vertical force. The vertical force doesn't come when you step down, it comes from resisting or coming back up after you've stepped down and getting back tall again at the end of the swing. That's when all the ground forces are peaking, not necessarily as you're dropping. That's not when your ground forces peak, it's when you bottom out, slow down from the fall and start to push back up again. All those three forces are going to help you make your body spin and turn like crazy, which will get your hand speed faster, get your club head speed faster. All right, let's take a look at one. I'm just going to hit a simple 9-iron where I'm going to move forces this way, I'm going to end up with my weight on the outside of my heel, and I should lift the chair off the ground an inch while I move laterally about 6 inches. Let's see if I can do that. Let's watch it from up the line this time. Again, I've left about 6 inches of space, so I know if I've come to the post. The combination of this move, kicking the soccer ball this way, the instep, acts to claw me over. 6 inches to the left post. The act of pushing the foot this way, try to move the earth with my heel that way, causes this reaction. Together, we're trying to create this action. A combination of both those things, and of course, given that the vertical ground forces from stepping over from an unweighted left foot onto a fully weighted left foot. All right, let's take a look. So I find it really worthwhile to develop a pro or a tour style pivot. And now since we know, we have all the data, it's becoming so easy to collect data in 3D space on how the hips and the pelvis are working, and everybody on TV that you've heard of and many, many guys that you haven't heard of. And we now can study and get kind of an average on how their hips and pelvises are moving in what we might call the pivot. We also have force plate data. That's like if this mat was taking all the forces in all 3 directions that I was putting into the ground. We also have those measurements. So we now know, and all it takes now is to deliver the information to you in a simple manner that hopefully not only you can understand, but you can go and make use of at the range. And so if you're looking to make that tour style pivot, here, here, just like that, really, really good to develop. The forces that you'll need will be more of that, kicking that way, kicking this way. That'll help your pelvis respond the right way. It will also get you out of some of the current bad habits you have. And I know some of you out there look like this, and you stand up, yeah, that's me, yeah. You stand up out of it and push your hips forward this way. Swing gets either too underneath, inside out, or you're coming over the top too steep. I've seen both of those, but what you can do there is if you start to move the foot out this way, it causes, I'm trying to kick with my heel, it's going to cause the butt to go backwards instead. So simply retraining the way that you're using the ground, and the motion will be the response. Hey, thanks so much for watching. I hope some of you get a great deal of benefit out of this. I'm Steve, and as usual, I'll either see you in the next video or I'll see you longer and straighter down the fairway. Everybody take good care.